So here we go. So here, just to show off, this is the gear page. This is effectively where you customize your bike, if you will, in terms of outfit, gear, and so on. So at the bottom there, we have the elements that we can craft. Sure. So these are things that enhance your stats, like health, melee damage, range damage, things like stealth damage. So for example, here we have the hidden blade. Luckily, we have enough resources to craft the next level up for this. So this enhances the damage, which you can see at the bottom. And this is a way to be able to get that one-shot kill on your enemies through the RPG system. We have more crafting material here. For example, we can see that the health is increased. And so the crafting element is really there to enhance the rest of it, like the shields, the melee weapons, and so on. You can, spin the camera around just to see what Bake looks like. We have a ton of stuff inside cosmetics and outfits. Here we have what the default Bake, but here we'll put on a different outfit just to kind of show something different. We'll put a lot of effort into outfits. I think later people will see more really cool outfits and how far we play with that. But I think we're good. Maybe we'll go to abilities. Yeah, sure, why not? Just to show. The way we think about abilities, it's kind of a graph with kind of flavors. So you can see Hunter, Warrior, Seer. The idea being that the Warrior tree obviously is more related to combat. Hunter tree is more related to either ranged combat or stealth. And the Seer is a mix of stealth and, let's say, manipulating the environment to get what you want. So yes, this is where we have animal taming. This is where we have the dawn and dusk, which allows you to change night and day, which does have a big impact in terms of stealth, and maybe we'll see that a bit later on.
Can you tame a hippo?
You absolutely can tame a hippo.
Excellent.
And it's
excited.
Quite wild. It's super cool. Here we have a lion in the video, but a hippo would have been a good idea, maybe. So I think we're okay.
I think we're ready.
You want to buy? Okay, you want to buy another ability?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Oh, Senu harass. Okay, perfect.
So that you can send her at a guard and it sort of like distracts them? Or
yeah, so that one ability, Eagle Harass, it has two functions. One is, yes, when you're flying with Senu, you can target a guard and have her harass him so you can sneak up to them or have them turn around. There's a lot of stealth you can do just with that ability. And passively, now Senu will come while you're on combat and help you harassing a guard who might be far away from you or an archer, just to give you that extra little support. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart.
I love Senu.
We also have a question from the chat. They want to know if outfits only affect cosmetics. This question comes from Chaos Rain.
Yes, this was a reflection we've made off previous Assassin's Creeds. We saw a big disparity between people who want better stats, better gear for gameplay reasons, but people also wanting to have whatever look they want to have. So we separated the concepts. The outfits are really cosmetic. So you can put on whatever outfit you want, and it's not going to necessarily change your stats. We felt that it was better, allow people to get their stats through weapons, shields, crafting, and leave the outfits for really cosmetic stuff, what you want to look like. Yeah,
style is very important.
Absolutely.
The most important. So I think we want to try a little bit of a stealth approach here. Yes, Miriam? You ready to go? So we have a little bit of a smaller camp here, so we're going to highlight sort of how you can use Senu to scout and sort of maybe different approaches you can do to stay hidden and still assassinate.
Yeah, and here we can see different things. There's a hippo marching into the camp.
It doesn't look very happy.
This one is not good, though.
So there's actually a hippo attacking the camp. That was... honestly, for the people at home, that was not set up. This is the life that's in Egypt. We really wanted to make sure that whether it's animals or civilians or guards, that they have agendas and needs and wants, and that all this stuff kind of crisscrosses over one another. Literally here, it's probably a hippo from the river that these guards aggressed somehow, and sadly they seem to have killed. So now they're kind of getting back into their position, but. We have them, they're still agitated. Oh boy.
A whole army.
You might not need to do any work here. The hippos might do it all for you.
Exactly. And this is part of the fun. We fully accept that the world is living. These guys are, they're so worried that they actually lit the brazier. I just noticed it in the back. It's actually lit, which is calling for reinforcements. So Miriam, good luck. Your work is cut out for you. So even if the hippos take out some guards, their nearby reinforcements are coming. We see those guys in the back.
no.
Those are coming because of the lip brazier. So good luck, Mary.
This is absolute chaos.
I didn't do nothing yet. Darn. And they saw me. No.
Oh, no.
Oh boy.
So by stealth, we meant hippo
Okay.
strat.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the hippo strategy did not work out on this one.
Okay, I'm just gonna let them fight it off.
Yeah.
And, yep.
We can reset the loops. No, but this is something we really wanted, that the world was really felt living, that it wasn't events that are spawned just around you to kind of make you feel like it's living. It's that this stuff is even happening kilometers away. And we needed that because with Senu you can see so far into the world.
Right.
We wanted that players can see these kind of opportunities at long distances to either try to approach them ahead of time or even to approach the aftermath, which might be, you know, let's say a bunch of loot is laying there for you because some guards got killed or animals got slaughtered, sadly. But it was important for us that the world felt like it was really living on its own and providing you with opportunities.
It seems like the experiences you'll have player to player will vary pretty differently just based on random circumstances.
Absolutely, that's what we hope for. And we hope that this, you know, I mean, we try to make sure that this also impacts the quests. So even when you're playing a quest where you have a named character that needs to do something, that by going on this journey with them, that based on what's happening in the world, it can drastically change. You know, we sometimes have a quest where it'll ask you to bring someone somewhere, they might be hurt, and you can do that with, let's say, any vehicle you have, any opportunity. I've had situations where I've decided, you know what, I'm going to carry this guy on a chariot. But chariots,
cool.
they're more military vehicles, so getting a chariot can be quite difficult. So I had this fun adventure trying to get a chariot so I can transport someone. And we hope that people find their own, you know, little stories, little anecdotes for these moments.
We also have a question from BPR Gaming in the chat who asks, with the new RPG elements of the game, what did you change within the stealth element to make it feel like AC, but also add a bit more to the system?
Ooh, okay, good question. So, I mean, the first thing we start thinking about is if we want to embrace the RPG element, what do we do about assassinations and the hidden blade? And for us, we wanted to assume that RPG element, which meant that you cannot bypass the progression. If you are meeting enemies, it's not necessarily that they're higher level, it's that they just have so much, let's say, hit points and armor and defense that you just need to do more damage to them. We accepted the fact that you have to craft your hidden blade. Having said that, in my recent playthrough, I decided I wanted to do a playthrough that was more stealthy, more using bows and the hidden blade. And just by focusing on crafting, I'm able to keep up with one-shotting enemies as I'm playing through the quest lines, through the side quests. So we wanted to make sure that stealth damage as a stat, if you will, was part of the progression, that you had things you can craft that were really linked to you being more stealthy. And you have a lot of abilities that are linked to stealth. I mean, Miriam was looking at it a bit earlier. The graph is out there so people can take a look at the graph, but there's a lot of abilities linked directly to stealth.
Like the chain kill assassination?
Like the chain kill?
I hope we can do that. It looks really cool.
Miriam, we'll try to stress her capacity.
Nothing works like it's supposed to be, but yes.
But we got to show the hippos, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we moved.
Awesome.
So we've escaped from a small camp that was supposed to give us a little taste to one of the biggest forts we have in the game. So now there's a lot of stuff in this area. There's braziers for alarms. That, by the way, we can booby trap those, which we should try at some point.
So what happens when they booby trap? Does it?
Oh, but I think we have to see it.
Okay.
To
Sorry,
see the,
guys.
I mean, it's no, but effectively everything that is there for the AI to use, the player can use. So, for example, there's ballistas. There's the braziers that is a kind of an alarm, but you can actually use it to your advantage. You can even light it to actually have reinforcements come in, which is a tactic we expect players to start doing later in the game when you have these sort of bounty hunters chasing after you and you feel strong enough to take them on. One of the easiest way to get exactly call them out.
That's bold.
And they have some of the best loot in the game, so their weapon, you can get their weapons. I expect that people will start playing with that. But here we have a massive fort.
Massive fort.
Absolutely massive
Cannot
fort.
emphasize how big this fort is, Miriam.
But we
And here we
found
can see
it.
in the back, people can see that the doorway next to the cursor, just on the cursor now. By using Senu, you can find secret entrances to these types of locations. There's a lot of secret entrances. In this one, it happens to be, let's say, a cavern that leads you into the well. Before, so it's
So you
directly
can climb
tied to
up
the it's
into
directly
it?
tied to the level design. So okay, so perfect. Miriam's gonna use it. But this is something that players can assume. You can charge into a place if you want.
Sure.
If that's your approach. If you take a bit of time to scout, there's value in doing that. You can find these kind of cool opportunities to be able to really sneak into the heart of the base and bypass some of the challenges.
Oh, an alligator. Great.
But that's the thing. The world is really, we didn't, you have to pay attention to the world you're in. Egypt was, at this time, a very dangerous place. So yes, in this place, I can tell you that we didn't even spawn an alligator there. He probably just made his way through the river to the spot.
That's so cool.
Living his life in
quite
his
awesome.
alligator home,
Yeah.
and we just roll up in here.
Interrupt his daily
So
business.
sorry, alligator.
Going back to the hidden blades you were mentioning earlier, we have a question from Net Magetsu in the chat who asks, will each hidden blade look different visually? And they mentioned that they noticed the store prop for Origins has twin blades.
Yes, so all the crafting, so for the breastplate, the bracer, the stabilizer, the hidden blades, every crafting level has its own visual.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Oh.
And NyQuil and Chill, that's a really great username.
That's a great name.
Would like to know, are there going to be ship battles similar to AC3 or AC4?
Yes, there will be the larger ship battles. It's not the scope of Black Flag. Black Flag was really about that.
Sure.
But yes, we wanted to have some kind of return of like this really great system. It's fully justified, but we don't want to ruin the surprise. There is some surprises in how that plays out into the game. But yes, we will have
course.
some. Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
Ship battles are my favorite. The real question is, will we have sea shanties again? That's my priority.
Stream exclusive.
So there are some surprises when it comes to that naval element for sure. I don't want to. It's not sea shanties per se. But how about we get back to stealth?
Maybe we're gonna grill you.
Speaking of stealth, Warmer String 742 wants to know if we can kill cards while they're sleeping at night.
Oh, well,
Nice.
hey, what an
Wow.
amazing
That's-
segue. Wow,
Your
bravo.
timing could not have been better.
Not only can you, should you?
So what we saw here, so people clearly understand what happened. So as a player, you have the ability to kind of make time go forward a little bit. So let's say it's Bayek kind of chilling, relaxing for an amount of time. Putting a situation like this, a base like this at night, yes, there is a guard swap. Some guards will go to sleep. It doesn't mean that at night it's always easier. Different things happen depending on the fort, depending on the types of enemies you're after. But definitely the night and day switch is an important one to the game. It has a big effect in stealth. So here we saw, this dude he was going to bed, but I think Miriam
Did you just
whistled.
whistle at him? What could it be? Get him.
Oh,
Well done.
So with the other body, I saw a prompt above it, and it got a little bit. It
Yeah,
has some, like,
it
slug
got
up on it?
poison. Yeah.
Poison. Okay.
So if other enemies go close to him, will get poisoned too.
Oh, so you
Oh.
can
Yeah.
use that also as a
Yeah,
strategy.
poison is another strategy. Here we'll see this guard maybe wanting to invest. Oh, you whistled again?
Are you whistling?
Yeah, because he was going to see the other body.
Let him go get poisoned.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
anyway,
right.
it's okay. Okay, take him out. Take
We're
him
really
out.
going to highlight the whistle feature here on the stream.
You can hide.
This is the death closet.
Yeah, exactly. A horrible closet. Why did they put this here?
Yeah, Ash, why did they?
They needed to change. You know, there was modesty in Egypt.
Indeed. Yeah.
So poison, as an example, yes, it's a stealth tool. Bodies, you can carry them, you can move them, you can hide them in things like these closets or in haystacks or in stalking zones. But you can actually carry a poison body. You can throw it at enemies.
directly at an oncoming enemy.
no.
Absolutely,
Oh,
you
that's
can.
the best.
So
Go
there's
Senu.
Senu. So there's
Go
Senu
Senu,
helping
go.
you out during the fight.
Oh, she's so talented.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's amazing. I love Senu. Back to the poison body really quick. You can put it on a horse if you want, or on a camel. Put it on the back of a camel.
You're speaking
Make
my
that
language.
camel go through a camp. which will cause a ruckus, a chaos in the camp, and it'll potentially spread that poison across. There's a lot. We wanted to have a lot of stuff mixing together. So this guy was running to one of the braziers actually. If we had booby-trapped it, that would have been fantastic.
Yep.
Miriam.
You can be so creative here. I love
Backseat
it.
Bayek her, okay? All right? Let her play her way.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have another question from E Mezzo Gaming in the chat who says, will we be able to enjoy the environment and nature without fighting? Stay tuned because we'll have some more information about the Discovery Tour later on. And they also want to know if there will be side missions.
Oh, yeah. Side quests. We've exploded the way we've done missions, the concept of missions. We don't even call them missions anymore. They're quests. The idea being that a quest, encapsulates a story, and you can have many of these stories all running at the same time. There's no limit to the amount of quests you can have.
Nice.
So the world is filled with quests. We wanted that it was a mix of gameplay and story and narrative. That you meet these wonderful characters. So for example, in this fort is called Nikyu Fort, and in Nikyu Fort there's a few quests that take you here. So the world is filled with side quests. Again, it's a good way to, let's say, get exposed to not only the stories of Egypt, but who is Bayek as well. So sometimes he will help people as a Medjay. Sometimes it'll be from a personal connection to a character that he might have known, in a time period before the game.
Right.
And so you get to see a little bit about his history, people he meets in this world, and so on. So yeah, the world is filled with side quests.
That's great. This sounds like it's going to consume multiple hundreds of hours of my time, and I couldn't be happier about it.
I sincerely hope so. Yeah, no, we wanted Egypt to shine, and we wanted that the stories of Egypt to also shine, and we felt that Quest was we're not necessarily inventing anything with the concept of quests. We have our own spin on what is a quest for sure, and especially with the AI systems we have, it has its own flavor, but we felt that quests as a structure allowed us to tell tons of unique stories about Egypt. So here we can even see that for the people who actually love the climbing, the parkour, every type of these types of locations like this Nikyu Fort, it's been completely thought of from a stealth perspective, from a navigation perspective. So you can actually scale and parkour on the high level or the outside of this whole location all the way around. So for the people who want that, more classic assassin approach, where you're the predator on top, hunting your prey, that's a valid approach. The level design has been iterated on so many times to make sure that we have as many possibilities to take on such challenges.
So you could come in here and never touch the ground.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I couldn't.
Oh, there's
some people could.
Oh, okay. I thought I
We
was
have
gonna light
another
it.
question from the chat. Abhi Gamer wants to know if the alertness of guards is correlated by the difficulty. And we had another member in chat, Dagger1997, who says they're worried that the game will be too hard as he's new to the RPG setting.
Okay, I'll answer this one since I don't remember the first question. Well, remind me of it in a second. For the ease of it, so this is the first Assassin's Creed where we have difficulty settings. So you can set the game to easy or hard if you want. The default obviously is normal. But we know that by going much more RPG, by kind of going down the road of the combat system we wanted to push, that it definitely brings a lot more depth into the gameplay. But we know we have a large audience. We want as many people to enjoy that experience, and we felt by adding difficulty settings, it opens the door to people who want a more casual play style. If they're more into the world itself, exploration, narrative, there's an opportunity there. For the people who want much more hardcore gameplay challenge, set it normal or hard even. So if you're new to the RPG stuff, don't worry. Set it to easy, and you won't lose anything from that experience. And the first question was?
The alertness of guards, is it related to the difficulty setting? Are they more alert the harder the difficulty?
No, we played around with that, and we didn't like that it became... the thing was, the alertness of the guards has a level of credibility to it.
Yeah, sure.
And when we messed around too much with that, what we found was either they look really stupid, where they're just, it just takes a lot longer for them to see this dude with bloody weapons in front of them and not react to him. So we found a balance that we felt allows players to cat and mouse with the AI. That was the true goal of this type of detection system and this type of stealth, is that it's not a matter of getting detected, it's actually guards seeing a threat
Sure.
without going into conflict. And that they'll approach and investigate, and they'll get close enough to recognize, like, oh, who is this guy? And then perhaps attack. But that we wanted, so there's a lot of opportunity to play with the cat and mouse element of it. So that's why we didn't touch it for difficulty reasons. We didn't play with that because it was actually impacting the credibility of them being human beings, seeing or hearing a stimulus and reacting to that. But again, for the people who want a slightly easier experience, there is a mode for that. And it does have other impacts beyond just the stats. Not the perception of the guards, but it goes into other areas that hopefully will make the experience easier for the people who want it.
Sure. You had a bow out earlier, and you got to do something pretty cool. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there any way you could whip out that sweet bow again?
I'll do it, in a second.
After you get this guy.
Yes.
Obliterated.
I'm trying. Doing better than rehearsal.
And there are several different types of bows in the game now, correct? So they can kind of suit your different play styles. You want to get up close with it or go a little
Absolutely.
bit farther away?
We wanted that the ranger play style, let's say, ranger play style, had a lot of variety into it. So there are 4 types of bows. Within those types, there's many variations when you get into rarities and so on.
Oh,
so this one is what we call the predator bow, which is kind of your sniper.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a beeline shot. It's a straight shot. So you have to aim really carefully. There is an ability that you can purchase.
And miss.
Whipped.
But anyways.
Just highlighting the feature.
So he investigated the arrow that hit the wall, and now he saw Miriam. So he's coming after us. But this is so that ability is an optional ability. You don't have to buy it if you're not into it.
Sure.
But it is a way to enhance the elements of being a predator. Now, let's say it's not by himself mentally rearranging where the arrow's going. It's kind of, let's say, he's able to give the arrow a bit of an arc, and we're representing that arc that he gives it. But every single bow has its own abilities that you can upgrade. But then beyond that, the bows themselves. So here we're setting a trap with the brazier.
You're like, finally.
I'm really excited for this. When it comes to attributes of weapons, properties of weapons, you can have. Oh, they're all right in the eyeball. Oh, very nice.
Yes.
We wanted a lot of variety for the bows. So just like the melee weapons, they're poison tipped. Variations that are poison tipped cause bleeding damage. The ones that that are by default lit on fire, stuff like that. So there's a lot of options. There's the warrior bow, which is a shotgun. It's your favorite, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
I tend to love shotgun-esque weapons, so I'm like really excited that it's a bow, but it's also like a shotgun. It's perfect.
And that's the one with the like 5 arrows, and you just kind of like.
So cool.
At the same time, yeah.
Oof. Wouldn't want to get hit by that one.
And we actually used a lot of real-world references, real-world archers that actually showed us how a bow can be shot, where you shoot multiple arrows, how you can hold many arrows in one hand, where you can quickly cycle through them. So a lot of this stuff is actually built or envisioned based on real archers in the world,
So
experts at this kind of stuff.
You met somebody who can do that?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my god,
yeah.
it was a
wanna
lethal
meet
human
them.
being alive.
Also, Miriam, just to check, what version is this of the game? We're on the Xbox One X? Yeah, Xbox One X.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
Exclusive. And we have a question from Shadow Merlin 17 who wants to know if we'll learn the history behind the Medjay.
Yes, there is. So in terms of the narrative and all, we do get into a bit of who the Medjay are and what their purpose was. This is a real world group. This is based off of a real group of. It was like a proto-police for the pharaohs that were replaced over time when the Greek dynasty came in. So with Alexander the Great and the Ptolemies, when they came in, they started phasing them out for a different group called the Phylakes. And so yes, we get into that a little bit because it is, in terms of timeline, the idea is Bayek is one of the last one of these people, and It's a bit of his backstory. So we do get into it. I think the novel gets into it a little bit more about his training and his younger days. But in the game, for sure, we get into who these people were and what they were about.
And do you meet this new sort of force that is a little bit more...
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
I was like, should I stop talking?
No, I think we've talked about it before. I think it's been seen in, especially when we did the previews of the game, but those are those bounty hunters, eventually, that after Bayek, let's say, I don't want to say what he does to get their attention, but he does something that clearly gets their attention, and they become this sort of like open world bosses that are roaming the world, hunting for him, and they're really living in the world. You can actually see them on the world map, what they're doing and where they are, and you can approach them, or if a brazier nearby is lit, they'll be attracted to it.
Sure.
You can stealth them if you want. You can mess around with them. They have some of the best gear in the game. So we really wanted this idea that they're a lethal force that also represented an opportunity for players who wanted kind of a tough challenge, but also awesome loot. Sweet loot.
Since we're kind of on the topic of the story, Mr. Too Nice Wit asks, is the story connected to the original AC in any way? Is that something we can speak on?
Well, we're not going to ruin anything. I don't want to spoil anything, but for sure this is 1,000 years before AC1, or over 1,000 years before AC1. And so, yes, we definitely acknowledge some elements of things people have seen from the other games, not just AC1, but from the other games. You know, we're telling the origin of a group. So for sure there's going to be anecdotes about things we've seen from the other games. This is completely in line, of course, with the lore of AC. It's not any kind of reboot or anything. Let's say it is a reinvention of the experience in terms of gameplay, narrative structure, world structure. But in terms of lore, it's part of that canon. So we play around with it for sure.
Great. I'm excited to see it.
And there's really awesome moments linked to things people have seen from maybe perhaps from AC1, AC2. So
I feel like you're right on the edge of saying something.
I don't want to ruin it for people.
Like
I really don't want to ruin.
Jump in
no, I think the joy of experiencing it, the joy of experiencing it is way better than hearing me say it.
So it looks like I just saw you whip out that shotgun bow.
Yeah,
which looked pretty cool. Did you guys see that? There's this
I love
close
the
range.
shotgun bow.
And just everybody's poison now.
Everybody.
Yeah, there's a big smog there.
Yeah, there's a nice smog of poison.
You did that?
I did.
So just to say, even when a guy is poisoned like that, during combat, it actually acts as a sort of a stun. So at some points they're gonna start coughing. When the poison really kicks in, they'll even start vomiting.
Oh,
so it's actually, the poison has an effect as well in combat in terms of like it kind of stuns the enemies for a little while. So it makes the setup a little bit easier. Here we're still taking out guys. Just to say maybe so these types of locations, these military locations, it's a great place to find gear, of course. There's objectives like commanders that you need to take out that kind of, let's say, relieve some of the pressure of the Ptolemaic occupation in the area. But there's a lot of quests that bring us here. So especially even, you know, fort like Niku Fort specifically, there's a few quests that bring us here. So there's narrative reasons to come into these locations. We're not playing a quest right now, but we try to use every angle to take advantage of the world that we've built.
So it looks like you can as well, there's a bunch of different weapons that you can equip. I mean, it seems like Miriam is going for a little bit more sword
Yeah, I
version,
didn't have
but
a choice.
there's spears as well, so you can deal with a little bit more, a wider range of it when you're hitting enemies.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should even maybe play around with it. If we go to the gear.
I'll see what you got, Miriam.
Yeah, so we have, so here we can see some rarities. So blue is common, purple is rare, and then gold is legendary. And the big difference here is you just have more and more attributes and properties to the point where the legendary stuff, you can really craft a much more precise play style.
So we have a question from Zordi from the Twitch chat who asks if you can destroy or dismantle items for materials for crafting from other things in the world.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of the loot you pick up. All the weapons and shields and gear you have, you can dismantle it to gain crafting material.
Okay.
The system's quite diverse. We wanted, you know, at some point that whatever play style you have, you can it'll feed into the way you want to grow. So let's say, we've had, I've said this once before, but we've noticed that there's this very small subset of players who want to play with the economy of things. And so we have some abilities linked to that. That's another way to, let's say, if you're not for going, taking out guards, taking the iron, the bronze, there are ways to get that through the economy system.
Sure.
So we wanted to allow players, if you're into that style of play, there's abilities for you, there's ways that you can still craft and upgrade yourself without necessarily just going out and killing guards or hunting, that kind of thing, if you're into that playstyle.
So it seems like there's quite a variety of materials that you can get. So there's metals, there's animal skins, which you can
There's animal
find on the
skills,
map.
there's some more rare stuff that you can find, let's say, in more challenging areas of the game as a nice reward. Oh my god, vicious.
Miriam,
vicious.
brutal.
Very good.
No
Bravo.
mercy run.
So did we switch to? Oh yeah, we have a spear.
I have a dual blade now.
You have the dual blades as well.
Oh.
So one thing that people can do, because I get the question of, if I have 2 melee weapons, what's the value of having 2 and switching between the 2? Part of the value actually is, first, depending on the number of guards around you. If you have 1, an area effect weapon is not the most efficient thing. But because the fight is so dynamic and fast that you can go from a few guys around you to 1 or 2 very quickly. So here, being able to switch quickly between something that's more focused versus more effect has an efficiency to it.
Sure.
But it's also about the way we manage what we call fury mode or overpower, which is you have this adrenaline bar that you build up. Each weapon can vary the way this thing builds up, but you have different outputs. So you can use one weapon to build up this adrenaline bar, switch to another weapon to unleash it. Because you prefer, let's say... Oh boy, okay.
What are you holding? Is that the scepter? Oh my god.
So this is a scepter.
Oh no.
I love this
huge.
scepter. Yeah, this guy's a bit of a badass.
So he's a
Very
captain
tanky.
now?
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
How can he
very
run
nice
so
touch.
fast?
Got it.
Yeah, this guy's a brute. He's got a massive weapon. So here, this is what we call fury mode. So it's an aspect of the scepter.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Miriam, you're showing some skills. So she's doing a bunch of different combos here, which is really cool. You have a lot of different combos you can pull off, so she's kind of showing off her skills here.
Oh no.
Right in the
Oh
stomach.
boy, oh boy.
You can recover.
You got it.
So the scepter is one of my favorite weapons. I love it. The sniper bow, however, in the middle of this fight is not.
He never saw it coming.
I mean, it could be bad. So here, look at this. Senu's helping you.
Senu.
Yeah, sweet Senu.
Oh no.
Sanu's trying.
But there is
believe.
an archer there. Oh boy.
I believe in you.
There we
It's
go.
her. It's the champ.
I don't believe in
Miriam,
my
I
sister.
believe in you, Miriam. I believe in
Ash
you.
believes in you.
That means a lot.
I feel like there's like 6 guys waiting right behind you. Oh my god, this is so close.
This is a tough situation. Oh, you got Fury.
You're out of
You
ammo!
got Fury. You got Fury.
Yes!
Oh boy,
You
but
got it.
he's swinging though.
Do it.
I believe in you.
Do
You've
it,
got
Miriam.
it.
Do it.
Oh,
Why
No,
does
no,
the
no,
Sanu's
no, no.
have to come in and
This-
interfere?
oh god. Oh god. No.
Almost.
That was
so
the first one,
close.
though. So you know that this is live, because
Yeah,
we're
she
does.
definitely
Of course.
teasing.
And you know what? I'll say that we fully assumed and accepted the fact that we want a more challenging game.
Sure. Yeah.
Not necessarily just saying making a harder game, but we wanted more gameplay challenge, more depth. We expect people to die against bosses, against unique enemies. If they're
Now
not
we're
paying
back.
attention to the way they're running around in the world, that there is threat there. We want people to be able to focus on the world they're in. Having said that, again, if you're not as into that, set the game to easy. It'll make that experience much less challenging.
We have a question from Gorvo Otano from the Twitch chat who says they're worried that the golden hit point numbers will ruin the immersiveness of the environment, and they want to know if they can change that in the UI settings.
Yes, you can turn off the damage points, the visual, the feedback.
Okay.
Having said that, I love them. I care about that kind of stuff, but it's something that we saw that when we first kind of started integrating this, it was really polarizing. There's people who love it, there's people who hate it, and there's very few people in the middle. So yeah, there's an option to turn all that feedback off.
And we have another question from Brett Uzumaki from the Twitch chat who asks, are the outfits of the previous AC Games main characters in this game? They want to know if they can run around Egypt in Ezio or Altair's outfits. Which I think would be pretty cool.
I'm not sure if we've ever said it. I mean,
Good job,
I mean, it's getting close. So there are some legacy outfits for sure.
Oh.
I don't want to get into how you get them.
Extreme exclusive.
But yes, you have the outfits from previous aces.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, is anybody freaking out?
I'm waiting for an
in
assassin to
trouble?
come across the screen and just stab you. It looks like we're good. Pierre's not on your case.
And Shadow Merlin 17 from Mixer wants to know what the scale of the map is.
Oh well, let's bring up the world map, Miriam. If you,
While she's
Yes.
hanging out.
after whistling
please.
at a guard,
Hang
after whistling at a
Looking
guard.
at the map.
Actually, if we can zoom in all the way, zoom into where you are.
Okay.
Miriam, just so we see. So this camp that we've been playing in is effectively this area right here.
Yeah.
And I can say if you play this fort is massive. It's really huge. But if you pull back now, you can see it's a tiny little blip in the world, and so the
Oh my
world
gosh.
just
That's
goes
so
on.
big.
So much to explore.
Yeah, I mean, when we decided to do Egypt, we knew we were getting ourselves into building a country. It's not a city. It's we wanted to represent Egypt well in all its biomes. It's all its the awe of this land. One of the first questions people had for us was, "Oh, but it's a lot of desert." It's actually not. There's different deserts, yes, for sure, but there's a lot of variety of, like I said, biomes, foliage. The Nile Delta is incredible. The mountains are incredible. So the world is really huge, and it's the challenge then is, it's not just the size; that you have to fill it with content.
Of course.
And so that's one reason we went to Quest. That's one reason we changed the way we have AI living in the world. It's actually to make sure that there's consistently something going on, something that's exciting for players. Because again, physical size is one metric that I don't think represents the experience of the game.
Sure.
It's a good stealth maneuver.
Very good.
She's just wasting dudes this whole time. I love it.
Amazing.
You made the mistake of walking too close to the edge.
Yeah.
So Net has another question about weapons, and they want to know, can you use any weapons two-handed without the shield, or is the shield a necessary part of combat altogether?
So there are some weapons that don't use the shield. So for example, let's say you can set it to fist fight. So you can go through the game fist fighting, and I would love to see somebody one day one-shot punch a war elephant. You can do it. It's doable. It takes a lot of work, but it's doable.
Sounds amazing.
So there are some weapons use the shield for sure. So for example, the regular sword uses the shield in the combo, but other weapons don't.
Did the scepter? I feel like I saw it without the shield. Am I misremembering that?
The scepter uses the shield for some moves, but not for all moves. There are some weapons that don't use the shield at all, and some that mix it into the combo.
I like to see that the hay bale
Yeah,
assassination
my
is
favorite.
making an epic return.
Absolutely. Oh, we have that.
Is that-
That's the guy who wrecked us earlier.
Yeah, that's
Are you ready for the
the
rematch?
only one remaining.
I
You
believe
gotta
in you.
do
I
it.
think you
I
can
still
get
have
it
one
this
captain
time.
to kill, and it's him.
This is a grudge match. Miriam.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, damn.
Oh.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to the war elephants you mentioned, Zangrate from Twitch asks, how much liberty did the team take with the setting and the fantastical aspect, because the war elephants and certain enemies seem a bit larger than their actual size?
So, what our angle is, this is a video game. We try to be credible, but not realistic. Those are the words we separate. We're not a realistic game. This isn't a true, a pure history of what happened. We have a fiction, we have a lore that we intermingle into all of this.
Right.
So we take some liberties where we feel it's justified because we have a reference. So if we find a reference of some guy who's quite tall, a 7-foot dude, quite muscular, that's good enough for us to say that we have a bunch of these guys in the world like him who are armored and carry that type of weapon. Having said that, the majority of the experience is quite a credible one. Even the war elephants, again, this is based off of references we found. We might exaggerate some stuff for gameplay reasons. As an example for the war elephants, it was really, we needed slightly bigger elephants to actually have things like weak points. For example, their eyes are weak points. And so we had to play with the size to find how can we have them armored. Some
Sure.
parts are more difficult to hit. How can we have it so that you can run in its legs? So having said that, we do try to find references that can justify our the ends of what we try to do. The general thing is quite credible in our opinion, but again, we're not a realistic game, and we don't pretend to be.
I guess if you can one-shot punch an elephant in the face and kill it.
At some point, yes.
This question kind of related. Shadow Cyclone 08 from Twitch wants to know if you can fast travel.
Yeah. So you're not forced to, but there's many different ways. So by visiting the villages of the world, the cities of the world, this automatically allows you to fast travel back to them. Also the viewpoints. So now the viewpoints, they do a bunch of different things. One of them is unlocking a fast travel to that viewpoint. The other thing they do, which is quite cool, is they increase Senu's ability to tag and detect.
Oh, cool.
So by doing more and more viewpoints, the idea is, in previous hasties, there was always an eagle around these viewpoints. Here, in an origin sense, the idea is you're bringing Senu to the viewpoint. Yeah, it's mind-blowing, isn't it? But the idea is it's a link. There's a link there, so there's different ways to unlock fast travel.
Now for the health regen, Miek Van Dolgenborg, that's a little bit of a tongue twister there, from Twitch, wants to know if health regains over time or if you have to take potions.
No, we tried a bunch of different designs, but we left it at you have abilities that can change the way your health regens. Once you're out of conflict, though, we wanted that the whole loop resets itself. So that when you exit conflict, whether you want to go back into stealth, where you want to go back into a new fight that's upcoming, that you kind of start at a stable place. So your health regens outside of combat, and then you have abilities that change the way that works. Oh, well, there's a line in the
No! Are you kidding me?
Surprise!
There's even here, we see this label, we can see it says assist rebels. So this is another element of the game where whether it's civilians, rebels, there's different factions in the world. There are these opportunities that are actually quite dynamic that you can take advantage of. In this case, let's say if we release some rebels who have been captured. So let's say they've been captured, they've brought into these cells. If you let them go, they're, oh man.
Okay,
okay.
Yeah. Dropped you like a hot potato.
No.
It's no good.
I believe in you, Miriam. I believe in you.
Thank you.
You've got this.
To be killed 2 times by the same dude would be a bit sad.
Like you're just lulling him into a false sense of security
Exactly.
before you assassinate
There
him.
you go.
This looks like a mutated bow.
There we go. Oh boy, yeah. So this is the
the-
rapid fire bow. It's kind of like an Uzi. It's quite fast. But again, this is actually based off of a guy who showed us how you can hold arrows and fire them very, very fast. So the way he's holding them is actually based off of a reference we have.
I want to meet this guy and watch
Alright.
him shoot a bow.
Just have a stream of him. What do you do?
I'm trying to put it on fire.
Oh, got it.
Fire arrows are so cool.
Hey, as a little tip, you have a torch. You can use the torch as a stealth tool. You can use it to distract guards, to lure them. But you can actually drop it in front of you and use it to light your arrows as well.
Yeah?
Oh,
It's
cool.
a little anecdote. Yeah.
Are you hinting at anything that you'd like to see on screen?
Hint. No, it's okay. We're dealing with this dude. Hey, you can toss that jar. If we toss that jar next to it, see that jar right there? If we toss it on him, it's gonna break into oil.
Oh,
Which will make really the fire really do something interesting.
sounds like you should heat things up.
Oh,
a little bit.
okay, you threw it to
Oh,
fire source already.
In the
Oh.
Oh boy.
there.
Oh
What kind
boy.
of
no.
dude just walks through fire and then
This guy.
That
fine.
guy.
A badass like that.
Wasted Miriam. Get him.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, this is
So
getting...
Falakis are near. Oh
And
boy.
that's the group you referenced,
That's
correct?
the group I was mentioning earlier. So at this point, in terms of where we are, in terms of the narrative,
He's looking
boy.
you dead in the face.
it's like, really? Come on now.
so I would escape from this point. Oh, he's tossing
Oh,
down.
you're
Oh,
no.
So here, Miriam, not your fault.
I
This
know.
is very difficult. So I'll say again, this is one of the hardest forts we have in the game. There's a few optional side quests that take you there. This is a really tough place.
Well, to lighten up the mood after Miriam's death, we can talk about some animals. Tyrion from Twitch wants to know if you can get the cats to follow you around town.
Cats. Oh, cats.
Can you interact with them? With
Yeah.
your hand and
So
all?
the way that we've gone about it is that. So yes, sometimes cats will follow you.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. But a cat will do what a cat does. So
Ignore you?
So sometimes they'll
Neglect
ignore
you
you.
emotionally?
Sometimes
Yeah.
if we see that you're actively chasing after one, it depends. It's kind of a roll of the dice. The cat may decide to give you attention. It might just run away from you. So we kind of had a little bit of fun with cats on this one.
And there are dogs too, right?
There are dogs in the world.
Excellent.
There are dogs in the world. There's a ton of animals, a lot of different types of. It's not just the predators that we see. We have a lot of ambient animals, a lot of domesticated animals, and so on. You know, we've seen a lot of horses and carts that are pulled by horses, but we have carts that are pulled by bulls and so on. So animals galore.
That's
Perfect.
great. So we have a question about the story from Dan7714 from Twitch, who wants to know if the story will take place over several years. And they said that they liked that in the other games. I don't know how
No
in-depth
spoilers,
you
Twitch
can
chat.
get.
Jeez.
So I mean,
the plot?
we've said I won't say how many years. You know, I don't want to spoil some stuff, but we've said effectively that this is we are at the time period of the rise of Cleopatra, of her being pushed out of the country, pushed off of her throne, to ascending that throne, with eventually Caesar coming in and so on. So you can kind of guesstimate about what that means in terms of timeline. I don't want to spoil too much stuff in terms of the narrative. For me,
That's
it's
fair.
very important that people
Absolutely.
experience this narrative. It's definitely not the same me talking about it. I'm not as clever as our brilliant writers or our actors who you know, Abu and Alex. They did a phenomenal job with these characters. I love what they did with them. We did put a lot of effort into the narrative, into who is this couple, this husband and wife that give the birth to something really powerful in our lore that has lasted for over 2,000 years. I want people to experience that themselves. You don't want me talking about it. I'll ruin it for you. It won't be as
After
glamorous.
launch, he will read the whole script.
After launch, we
It'll
can
be an
get into
audiobook,
it. We
all
can
of
get
it.
Go
into it.
line by line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then Jack of All Games, who's also from Twitch, wants to know if there's a carrying capacity or if you can hoard. Which is a good question because I do the same thing.
So maybe we can show it really quickly here. Remember, if we go to the gear page, just to show it really quickly. So if we go to let's say the bows, there is no carrying capacity. You can hoard whatever you want. Knowing that, you can dismantle stuff, you can sell it. If we go back into it, just show it really quickly. People can see at the bottom of the screen. Can you enter the inventory there? You can see at the bottom in green text. You can sort the inventory so that because it gets so big, sometimes we needed mechanisms to be able to, you know, what was the last thing I got, or
Organize your hoarding.
Or organize your hoarding, exactly. That's very important.
Organized chaos.
Bake was a very organized fellow, so so there's ways to manage that. But yes, there's no carrying capacity. You do have capacities for, let's say, ammo, which is part of the crafting system, and it's why we have, you know, ammo.
So you can like
ammo
upgrade
containers.
your quiver and stuff.
Exactly.
And more.
But generally speaking, for weapons, shields, gear, outfits, there's no limit there.
So we're nearing the end of our segment with you, but we can fit in one more question from Crossfire and from the Mixer chat, who wants to know what the highest structure you can climb is, and they want to know how long it took to create it. Probably a long time.
Yeah. So the person-made structure, let's say, would be the Great Pyramid. I believe that's the or is it the Pharos? Ooh, the world
you know
team's
they're
gonna
gonna
kill
fact
me
check
for
you,
not knowing. I'm gonna say it's the Great Pyramid, but the scale of the Great Pyramid is a 1-to-1 scale. It's massive. It takes a few minutes to climb that thing. We wanted to represent, you know, this place with all its awe and grandeur. So the pyramid is definitely one of the largest, biggest places that you can climb, and you can definitely climb to the top of it. How long did it take to build? We did a lot of iterations on Giza Plateau itself to make sure that it has really awesome opportunities for you, that it matches what people expect. We knew people would want to climb the pyramids and slide down, so we needed to make sure. So I can't quantify that time because I don't really know the number, but a lot of effort has been put on it with a lot of different people looking at it and making sure that it was as solid as possible. And in the Discovery Tour, you can have tours within the Great Pyramids, and we actually talk a lot about the actual structure of it, but even where we needed to think from a developer point of view, what can we do, what can't we do for gameplay reasons. So we kind of get into that a little bit. In terms of just the tallest things you can climb, well, there's mountains, there's the Katara Depression where it's actually quite low, and so you have these giant cliff faces. I'm not even sure how tall they are.
You can climb all the cliff faces, right? You can just basically...
Oh, you can absolutely climb every surface. You can get to pretty much... we wanted that the landscape was really fun to navigate and to climb. And if you see a point and you want to reach that point, just go.
That's one of my favorite things about AC is that you just
climbing on everything.
I'm going to climb that. That's mine now.
And there's some surprises there. There's some surprises where we don't necessarily tell you exactly what's there or even hint that there's something there.
What are you hinting at, Ash?
But if you explore, we wanted to make sure exploration was really rewarded. But so we put a lot of stuff in the world to make sure we expect people to climb this space because something attracted them there, whether it's its height or its look. And so there might be a little surprise around the corner if you just kind of take the time to look.
I can't wait to explore. Well, I think we are gonna do the first giveaway right now before you guys leave us.
Free thing.
A lot. No pressure.
No pressure.
So the photo mode was really something important for us. Ash says it really well in the trailer. Like the world of ancient Egypt that we recreated is actually very gorgeous, and we felt compelled to make this give players this ability to jump and take pictures of them.
That's amazing.
There you go.
A cool one.
Well, you're off to an impeccable start, I think. This is amazing.
And
I really like the guy in the back.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
I was that man in your picture. Yes, that brings luck.
Really? No hanging out pun?
I was thinking about it. It was in my brain. It's like, that guy's hanging out back there.
Didn't mean to jump on your pun.
So you can pause the engine at any given moment while you're in the game and play with graphic options, such as filters, zoom, the frame, the focus as well. So there's lots of things to customize your pictures with. And once you take a picture like that awesome one, what's interesting for us, and this is where this is a connected feature, in the sense that when you take a picture, it's saved locally on your console, PC, but it's also uploaded on our servers. And then we use that database of pictures to populate the games of all the players. So on your world map, from time to time, you're going to see some tiny icons showing pictures taken by some other people as well. So you can filter them out. Select only your own pictures as well.
And you can leave likes.
You can like a picture, yes.
That's so cool.
Not yours,
Now,
of
how
course.
popular are with your friends?
I told you, I'll like your pictures, Grace.
Thank you. We have a pact
Mutual
going,
exchange.
so we at least have one
Yes.
like each. My self-worth is tied exclusively to how many likes I will get on these pictures.
Aw.
Hey, man, I'm going to do great, okay? I'm going to
You
have so
are.
many likes. Thanks.
You're going to get hundreds upon thousands.
Yeah.
Or tens.
And so we also use the photo mode to actually showcase some of the majestic artworks from our artists. So one picture a day, one artwork. So they're placed in regions so accurately to where we actually reproduced that concept. So if you were going there, you would actually see the stables, comparing from the artistic vision to actually what's implemented in the game.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
so cool.
Some of them are very, very similar. Some others are more inspirational, of course, but we have tons of them. So be sure to check out the game on a daily basis if you want to look at the awesome concept
photos.
arts. Yes.
We've got a question from Zan Great from the Twitch chat who says, is the photo mode going to be included in the day one patch?
Day one patch, that's very specific. The photo mode is there on day one for sure. However, we are still working on some additional, filters and graphical options for you to customize your pictures even better.
Indeed. So it'll be continued to be supported.
Yeah, we'll continue to support it for sure. Yes.
I immediately thought of Snapchat filters, like Bayek with the dog filter on his face.
Oh my God.
That'd be
see about that.
amazing.
That'll be a day 600 patch. Never.
Never.
So you can pause during mid-combat as well, so you
Yes.
can catch all the action
Yes.
scenes. If you're, for example, being attacked by a hippo, You can for sure take that picture too, right?
Yeah, I could. If there's some hippo clothes.
Do you think we can find one? Oh my god, I love that. I
A
love
slow
the-
motion hippo shot.
Yeah, just like right about to
We're
be
not so
bed.
close to the water.
My
Yeah, we're
final
not so close.
moments. You got to get it up on social media at least. Though they didn't have social media in this day and age.
And will there be a way for you to see sort of your own-
Papyrus existed.
That's true.
Yeah, let me quick
Commission
sketch this out.
someone.
Okay,
Yeah,
what
there
I
you go.
ate this morning.
So is there any way that you can see your friends' pictures if they post something
Yes,
really cool?
yes. So we effectively filter the pictures for you. So we have a nice algorithm that does the job. So we favor tremendously the pictures taken by your friends, for sure. But we also filter the display the pictures that are the most liked as well. So, I mean, if you're a cool photographer, you share your vision. Ooh, that's going to be a nice shot.
Are you ready to be featured on there, Grace?
Yeah, prepare
With
for me
your
every
photo
day.
mode fame.
Yeah, always featured. And not because I work here, because I'm that good.
We have another question from Swifty Narwhal from the Twitch chat who wants to know if you can take pictures without Bayek in them.
Absolutely. It's just a question of playing with the camera. So actually, Miriam, if you want to move the camera away from Bayek, you can actually do that.
Oui. Yes.
So just move Bayek out of the frame, and there it is. I
Oh,
mean,
wow. Yeah.
the
Didn't
camera
go
can
anywhere.
actually go pretty far away from the character. So yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah, I'm so
That's
excited because I mean, the world is so beautiful, and I feel like being able to capture it.
Yes.
It's always fun to experience it, but also to have those moments you can really
Yeah.
sort of highlight your really awesome, like if you're doing like a fight or you're fighting a hippo, for
You can
example.
also take pictures, with Sinu.
Of Senu?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Anytime.
That's going to be my whole library of photos.
Document Senu's adventures.
Here's Senu against a tree. Here's Senu
It's like
on my
then if you
arm.
die, at least you're like, okay, at least I got a nice photo out of this
I
situation.
will die for a
Makes you
perfect
feel
photo of
better.
Senu. Does it?
Time it right though.
Yes.
Yeah, don't die too soon. And so, for us, the photo mode was very important in the sense that, well, yes, the fans were actually asking for it as well for quite some time. I think, we had, best graphics ever on an AC game to showcase that. But it's also the fact that we have a very creative community. I mean, we've seen,
Yes.
with our cosplayers, with people drawing, fan arts, writing stories as well. We have an awesome creative community, but their creativity only happens outside of the game
Sure.
so far. So this is your chance to actually inject some of your creativity within the game.
Oh yes, hippo.
This is the moment, guys.
And we also have a question from Kiwi Lava from Twitch, who wants to know if there's some sort of achievement program with the photo mode.
That's a good question. I'm not sure if I should spoil this, but I'm just gonna say yes.
Oh,
Another
much
stream
details.
exclusive, guys.
live reveal.
That's a nice shot.
You got the
Right?
blood
Right?
flowing in the
Yeah.
water.
You
It's very
look like
artsy.
You're severely in pain.
You can definitely see this on the homepage of Instagram. Couldn't you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's got filters. It's got hippos. I mean, that's the Instagram
What's not to
formula. I've
like?
never heard of it.
Okay.
What are you swinging at?
We got the picture. Time to dash.
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm a goner. He's so big.
You're good.
It's like your open world safari.
Oh gosh, how did they run so fast?
Oh, you're in the boat.
You should probably have asked, whether he was fine with you taking
Yeah.
It's always ask
You didn't
for-
ask for my permission.
I wasn't ready.
You didn't get my good
Oh my God,
side.
they're so cute. I love it.
They're so cute.
I know. It's like you almost don't want to kill them because they're adorable.
You want to kill them because they're adorable?
No, you don't because they're.
okay, sorry.
You almost don't
Megan,
want
that's
to.
really messed up, okay?
I know. But I don't want to kill
Get
them.
dogs next? Jeez.
All right.
And now you can loot it right after you
Yes.
take a
I don't
photo.
kill animals. It's wrong.
So we also have other features that you will be able to access when the game launches.
Yes.
We'll have some things that you can go to, like the Nomad Bazaar, which has some items in it, and
It
also
also
daily.
imports, some foreign weapons from nearby civilizations. So it's a good man if you're looking for, very interesting weapons.
Oh, I am.
Definitely the coolest kid I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's got some massive style that I can only hope to embody one day.
Someday.
Great warrior, come.
So
Tell you what
as Bayek, you're gonna meet him at some point in the game, and you're gonna build a relationship with him as you progress in the story, and you're going to learn more about his own story. It's a very deep, interesting story, about why he's doing this and so on and so on. And so he's also going to give you some daily quests. He travels around the world, so he has access to. He meets a lot of people. Who has trouble and whatnot. So once he meets, Bayek, who is a Magi, whose duty is actually to help the people as well, he's going to turn to Bayek to solve, someone's issues. So he's going to ask you to travel around the world, to explore things, to deal with, some people's problems as well, retrieve things, deal with, pestering animals, these sort of things, a lot of things. And so if we look actually at what he has to sell, Miriam, so at any given moment, you can visit him. He's going to be spread across the world. He's going to travel a lot, so you're going to meet him at different places as well. And you can buy from him crafting materials. So carbon crystals, there are very rare crafting material that is used for the high-level upgrades of your gear.
The sweet loot.
The sweet loot. Yes. If you want to be powerful, you're going to need to find those things. So, and there's plenty in the world, but if you're short on a couple and you want to speed up your progression, you can actually turn to him and purchase a few. He's also proposing what you call the Heka chest. So this one is very interesting. It's a chest that contains pretty much any weapon in the game, except those that are actually very exclusive to achieving a certain objective or a challenge in the game, including everything that we have in the store as well. So all the weapons, all the mounts, the outfits that you can get in the store are accessible through this chest. So if Miriam purchase one here, you're gonna see that you got a rare warrior bow. That's awesome.
That's a pretty bow.
So one thing that is worth noting is actually it doesn't sell crap. It sells only no, seriously, it sells only rare and legendary items. So only the good stuff.
And to get the chest, this is all with in-game currency, correct?
Absolutely,
so
yes. You can only get this chest from him with in-game currency. Yes, and it's meant for players who are really into the economic game, who wants to actually get the whole. Now you go, legendary.
Oh. Dang.
Cool one.
That is pretty.
One last one.
After. Yes.
One last one.
She's going crazy.
This is going to be me with all of my money in this game. It's going to be bad. One more.
Fan axe. Cool.
I'm a fan of that axe.
Yeah.
Had to move the plug out in there. Bruno just side-eyeing so hard with that.
I'm sorry,
you're
Bruno.
Going to see that we had quite a bit of fun with several items, with the lore, with their names as well.
Sure.
Yeah, we love to hint at our players as well and play with them.
And then for the daily quests, you also get rewards for completing it,
yes,
right?
and the reward, so every time you complete a daily quest, you're going to get one Eka chest for free. So every day you have your chance at one as well. Yes.
Cool.
So right now, Miriam is actually picking up a daily quest from Reda, and we'll see what he wants you to do.
While the quest is being gotten, we have a comment from Staffan Stevens from Twitch who wants to say, just throwing this out there, I'm loving every minute of this stream. Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you. And we have a question from Bulve, who says that he knows you might not be the right person to ask, but he wants to know if there will be a companion app to this game, like there have been to some of the other games.
Well, as a matter of fact, I am the right person.
Well, that worked out.
Yeah. Good. There won't be a companion app for this game. Yes. Everything that we do is accessible entirely within the game. However, we might have some things available on the website as well, the official website. We'll see how that goes.
Make sure you go to
Cool.
Assassin'sCreed.com.
Nice.
Just trying to plug everything.
Good work. And then the Golden Boy BR, also from Twitch, wants to know if there's any difference on using a camel versus a horse.
Style?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's really it, actually. It's more like a cosmetic option, like how you want Bayek to ride in style in Egypt.
You want him to look cool, so you want him to ride a camel.
Well, I liked when you go into the mount selection, it has a little blurb about if you have a special horse or camel, and I noticed that you had the Majesty one, and they have these nice little backstories and stuff.
Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Look, it's so cute.
I'm gonna feel so attached to my camel.
And you can sling bodies on them. Just
You can.
Perfect.
yeah, it might
Yeah.
be something that I tried
Carry your
for the
enemies.
first time. Yeah.
See, there's a back seat on this one.
Oh, perfect. So you can have your dead friend on the back, and then you can ride around town and intimidate everybody around. It's perfect.
You're next.
No one will mess with you.
Just make sure to poison him before.
Exactly. Bring the poison cloud.
We have another question about the Heka chest from BeingMo97 from the Twitch chat, who wants to know what happens if you get an item from the Heka chest that you already have. So you get a duplicate.
Yeah, duplicates are a thing. You know, it's possible. You can simply sell them. You can dismantle them and get crafting materials that will help you in progressing your upgrades. But you know, to be honest, this is not a blind box. We actually make sure that you get something. We increase your chances as time goes as well. So that it's not purely random. We make sure that you will eventually get something really, really cool.
Awesome.
Regularly.
Yay! Cool loot. Sweet loot.
Sweet loot.
Perfect.
So Miriam is on her way to finding a thief, that's someone who stole something either from Reda or from some of his friends. I'm guessing that's going to be a weapon.
Guessing.
We'll see.
Wink, wink.
Just pulling that from out of the air.
Yeah, just
And there are several different types of daily quests, so if you go back, it might...
There are absolutely several
different
types,
objectives
yes.
and stuff.
And so the cool thing about this one is that, and this is absolutely not scripted, we could not tell whether Miriam would actually go to that location because although we give the same quest to all the players on a given day, the way that quest will unfold in their game is going to be different. In the sense that we do respect your progression, we respect where you are in the game, what level you are as well. And so for the rest, we actually rely a lot on our new AI framework that, that gives life to all entities in the world. So we don't script where people are. We don't script where animals are going, whether they are eating, sleeping, hunting, attacking camels or camps. Yes. And so all those quests, they will play differently for every player. And that's really the beauty of it. The beauty of bringing life to all those characters. Because we can't tell what they're going to be. We can't tell that whether they're going to be sleeping at night or whether they're going to be actually busy fighting against each other or something like that.
Oh, I'm so excited, guys.
I know, me too.
I want to play this game so bad.
I want to play it right now. We have a question from Murdoch723 from the Twitch chat who wants to know, going back to dismantling weapons, if you dismantle a weapon, can you get it back after you dismantle it? Or what do you have to do to get it back?
Well, just in real life, you cannot rebuild something that no. I mean, I don't have that crafting master.
Be careful with what you dismantle. Lesson learned.
But you have to hold the button down, right? It's not just like on a hair trigger. You have to hold it
Yeah,
down.
absolutely.
Okay.
It's not like
but if it's an impulse, you're like, I'm clearing out my stuff. You gotta think about
It's
it.
going to be on you if you hold that button down for like 6 seconds.
Actually, it might be a good time actually to say that if ever you were, say, to purchase something in the store, like a cool weapon, you dismantle it. Actually, no, you cannot dismantle it. I just realized that.
Another Extreme exclusive.
Perfect.
Well, that's good. I think it's grace proof, I guess.
Absolutely.
If you can't mess it up, it won't be messed up.
So
What
she
happens if you
found
can?
Oh, God.
Well,
then
very
I'll
good.
find a way.
2 legendary weapons in one day.
Oh, wow.
Go, Miriam.
That is cool.
Poison on hit.
It's a cool one,
I feel
yes.
like that fits with your
Yeah.
play style.
Exactly.
I feel like you don't even need to swing that. You can just hold it and instantly be cool.
Yeah. So when
That's a
you
quick.
complete the quest, you don't need to go back to him.
That depends. Some quests, you find your reward directly on your victim or
Sure.
in the chest or something like that. Some of them actually you will need to bring something back to Reda, but it's conveniently placed, so you can go there, on your horseback or camelback, or you can actually fast travel to his nearby location.
And his location, you said that he changes.
He changes regularly,
So,
yes.
but it's marked on the map.
It's always
with a
marked on the
special-
map. Yes,
Cool.
it's a very unique icon, the blue camel. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. Oh,
That
Very
is
good.
so cool.
Look at this.
She's so
Tying all
happy
the
with her new
segments
weapon that she
together.
had to
You have to
take a picture of
document it.
Does it? Oh my God. What a shot. What a shot.
So since we are back in photo mode, we have a question about photo mode from Hood Review on Twitch who wants to know different ways you can share pictures.
So the pictures that are actually automatically shared, across the community. You don't necessarily have a control over, who they are shared with, but nothing prevents you from actually sharing them manually as well. Yeah, or using the consoles or your platform.
Sure.
Spamming them on Instagram.
Yes.
Perfect.
Sounds like Meg has a
Should we
plan.
Should we show a costume?
Which one?
Oh,
Oh gosh.
The next.
the cool one.
Well, that's going to be right after, yes.
That was a little taste.
Oh,
If
a
you
little
stick
sneak
around,
peek.
Something.
You will see that in full view. So I think before we move on to some of the free activities that we'll have for post-launch available, we should maybe hype up this booth.
It's
Just
going to come
kidding.
in.
Oh, I jumped the gun. Sorry,
There,
guys.
yes.
I was so excited it was on fire. I was
So
like,
every time you defeat a Trail of the God, so a new boss, you're going to get one piece of this armor set. And so there's a sword, there's a shield. Actually, there's a different shield. You didn't have the time to
Shield
switch.
on.
That one, yes.
Don't worry, guys.
That
We're
one. Looks better.
Yes, it looks better. There's a warrior bow and there's a scepter, all themed around Anubis. And so once you defeat all 4 different trials of the gods, you're gonna get all 4 weapons, and then this is your chance to get this really cool and horrifying Anubis outfit.
Oh yeah.
And
He's
those are
literally on
amongst
fire.
the best weapons in the game as well. So that's definitely something that endgame players will want to go into.
Oh my god.
So cool. I love that he can stand in the water and be on fire. That's like
Yeah.
the coolest
That's
thing.
how badass he
Yeah.
is. Water means nothing to me.
So if you see someone taking pictures of themselves wearing this, they're a badass.
Yeah.
Because they've been through hell.
And the sun, he literally looks like a god. This is amazing.
Because Miriam is a god of this game.
Exactly.
He's a goddess.
Thank you. Thank you.
So those are the rewards that you can participate in. Is there any other activities that?
Yeah, so we're gonna have, as you've seen in the post-launch trailer,
In the vast open world of Assassin's Creed Origins, the new combat system creates a lot of new ways to deal with your enemies. Making a ruckus can be very effective, but stealth has always been a favorite tool of the Assassins. So we talked to the developers about how you can take a sneakier approach to getting what you want.
Stealth is part of the lifeblood of this series. What are some of the ways that players can really lean into that stealthy play style in Origins?
So with the abilities, you can really start extending what you can do in stealth. Sometimes you might see a group of 4 guards. Having the ability to forward time. This will actually, those guards will get up and they'll do their daily business. At some point, maybe they'll go to sleep. The point is, this is an ability that allows you to change the setup. The stealth system itself is very different than previous ACs. Now it's really distance-based. That's an important thing because we wanted the player to be able to cat and mouse with the AI. So you don't get detected right away. They might see you, they might see a threat, but they might not recognize the true threat that it is. So they need to come closer, they need to investigate. This allows you to start splitting groups up. Combined with sleep darts, with poison, you can really manipulate the environment.
From the level design, already you can really sneak into a lot of locations, you can sneak into forts, into camps that you are really, under level. If you're detected, you'll be dead, but nothing is preventing you from trying it and using the level design.
We've worked very hard on the level design to make sure that there's constant opportunities to be able to stay in a stalking zone, to go up high. Being a predator in AC, that means you go up high. Or you can actually gain other abilities, so like sleep knives, poison, taming animals.
What happens once you tame an animal? Does it just kind of come alongside with you and bite anyone's face off?
Exactly.
Or messes with you?
Exactly. First you need to be able to tame them, right? To tame it. So it's not just out of nowhere, you're able to tame animals. You first need to put them asleep so that you can approach them without any risk, and then tame them.
If you consider the bow as part of your stealth equipment, that's another way. You can upgrade the damage of the bows, you can upgrade what they can do themselves.
One of the skills that I was really enjoying during my playtime is the Predator bow. Steering that arrow just gives it that extra little oomph, doesn't it?
Yes, when you manage to master the bow, the arrow, it's awesome. The feeling of actually continuing to chase your target using your arrow is an awesome feeling, but it's quite hard. So some might not like it, which is fine because we have many other opportunities.
think one of my favorite ways to play stealthy is to create those distractions. You know, you set a fire over here, everyone gets a little alarmed and like, oh, I'm just gonna go accomplish my objective over here.
Oh, and I would even say a lot of people don't realize it, but you have a torch that you can take out. So you can toss it to create a distraction. So that's another tool, stealth tool that you have.
I was also excited to see that there's a skill that allows Senu to sort of get into combat a little bit with you.
Yes, absolutely. This is something that we thought that was really cool actually, and makes sense. So when you're, approaching a camp and you want to distract some, to sneak on the other side, well, just use Senu on one guard. She will take care of it.
I would love that players who want to play stealth get to explore the system and find, really cool moments that we didn't think of ourselves. And I think there are many of those.
It's coming out soon. Give us the date and what.
So effectively, we started with a map that was about, Black Flag world map and replaced the water with land. So we felt we're at the time, we can do it, we can pull it off. And then being set in ancient Egypt and taking the time period of Cleopatra, it's about over 1,000 years before the first AC, so it kind of gave us a really good standing point to say, you know what, we can tell an epic story that is really important to the series, which is the origin. And then, of course, it was a matter of how do we infuse Egypt intimately into that origin story. So for sure, things like religion, culture, the background of our characters, the background of Bayek and who he is intimately married into that birth.
Now, I'm a bit not confused, but between Cleopatra's time, is that New, Middle, or Old Egypt?
So this is the end of the old era.
Okay.
So this is around 49 BCE.
Okay, perfect.
So effectively, she's the last pharaoh. We felt that this was a time period where Egypt is very rich already with history and culture. So that even if Bayek, our protagonist, is roaming through the world, that he's still discovering his own country, because we want our players to discover it as well. But it also affords us to meet epic characters like Caesar and Cleopatra, to go through the end of the old era, the beginning of a new world. And it felt like that this was an amazing crucible of history to give the birth of our order, which lasts for 2,000 years in our lore. So it just felt like, the stars were aligning. This is an epic time period for us, and it connected really well with what was happening at the time period.
So tell me, the landscape, the environment, the feel, the passion, the emotion that you put into Cleopatra, as we saw in the trailer, looking at her subjects. You can see the love that was put into this game. I'm blown away.
Thank you.
Egypt, such a well-rich, lore-heavy, history-bringing place. What research did you guys do to? This looks amazing. I feel like
Thank you.
I was there. I feel like I'm there right now. What research went into this?
Well, we're one of the only series that takes a look at history from this perspective, where we embed you deeply into that history and have you interact with the people, the situations, the locales. So we take it very seriously. We say history is our playground, which means that, we're creating a fiction, but it's a credible fiction. We try to do justice to the culture, to the time period. So we do a lot of research. The first 2 years of this project, as we're building prototypes, as we're figuring out the gameplay, we're doing a ton of research with historians, with Egyptologists on what are the details of this time, who are its people, what happened, not only in the big moments that we're aware of. So, for example, the Siege of Alexandria, which is a big epic moment,
Of course.
but in the details of what was happening in Memphis, what was happening in the Giza Plateau. So we spent years researching. We have historians embedded in our team that are always there when we do, let's say, narrative reviews, discussions about locations, just to give us, making sure we understand the anecdote of history. So we take it very seriously. We feel a responsibility to do justice to the culture, the time period, the history of it. If in some strange way we're somehow educating people on history, on Egypt, without them even realizing it, that's wonderful for us. So definitely a ton of effort goes into the research and bringing this world to life.
Beyond the setting, what else has changed in Origins between the gameplay and mechanics? Has anything been added?
Oh, absolutely. So when I say we wanted to refresh the experience at some point means the narrative structure, the gameplay, the way content is presented to our players. It's effectively everything.
Yeah, the UI even, right?
Exactly. It's the way the players reads the game and reacts to it. So from the controllers, the combat system is built from scratch. We wanted something that was very versatile, something that was very dynamic. We wanted the RPG element to be much stronger in this game, that leveling up, having abilities, finding gear. So for example here, finding new gear really matters to the player. So making sure that works within the combat system, within stealth, was a lot that we had to work on. Here, this is an ability that we're seeing, which is that the players can kind of change the time of day because
the ability to sleep.
Exactly. We call it meditation. He's meditating.
Okay.
He's really
I actually wasn't far off.
Introspecting. But the idea is, you know, the world is really alive. NPCs, the people who inhabit this world have schedules, have agendas and needs. You know, soldiers, if you try to infiltrate a place at night, you know, you might have half the soldiers are sleeping. Or during the day that they're more on patrol, but maybe they've left the area. So maybe you have more guards at night, but more are sleeping. So the idea is players can really approach the world, the challenges at their own pace with a lot of different tools. Here we can see we're running into a tomb, which is a very cool way for us to create a more linear gameplay challenge. So puzzles, navigation challenges, that kind of thing, but still within the context of this big open world. So a lot of new mechanics, a lot of new things for players to explore and experience.
I mean, the first thing I noticed when I seen one of the first trailers was the combat. Yeah. It's so fluid, and it looks amazing. And you were talking about bringing some RPG elements to it. Yeah. I saw numbers.
Yeah.
Are those for crits or?
Yeah.
That
we have full-blown RPG. So we get a lot of questions about that. So in terms of UI, people can play with that. They can turn it off if they don't like it. But myself, I love the RPG elements. Yes. I want to see my crits. I want to see my.
I love to min-max, right?
Exactly.
Like I want the best weapon. So can you change your weapons? Can you change your armor? Like, can you upgrade them?
Oh, absolutely. So there's a massive gear system where gear has rarities, levels, attributes, properties. So for sure, you can find weapons that do bleeding damage, weapons that have crit. Oh yeah, we've gone far into the realm of RPG. Again, we felt like we're making a really big step for AC, something that's new. We wanted that if someone is playing the game for 40, 50 hours, the game's constantly rewarding them, providing them new challenges. So boss fights are a big thing in the game. There's a ton of bosses in the world.
If they defeat all the bosses, do they get something extra?
Oh, whoa. Let's put it this way. No. Let's put it this way. We consistently reward our players for exploring the game, for playing its challenges. So most definitely, the bosses constantly offer really awesome rewards.
I'm just saying, I'm a completionist.
There's lots of cool surprises.
Yeah.
So if I have to collect something, like, I want to make sure that I get all of it. And there's a lot of that in the game.
Absolutely. We have a lot of stuff. We wanted that the game also feels organic, but you can trust the fact that if you explore, if you fight an awesome boss.
I am a Magi, protector of Egypt. My land is on the brink of collapse. To defend it, I must become an instrument of justice and freedom.
You are my Magi now, protector of the true Pharaoh of Egypt.
Gods have abandoned us.
Be careful. Not everything is as it seems.
Bayek, your people are in danger.
There's a new creed now. From darkness we have come, and in darkness we shall stay. We are Magi no longer. We shall be known as Assassins.
Assassin's Creed Origins.
Here at E3 that we're letting people play. Just so everyone knows, this is a living game. We still have a ways to go to finish off the game and completely polish it, so we might see some hiccups along the way. But we fully assume that. We're super proud to be here to show it off. We've been working a long time on this, and it's finally exciting to be able to show it and have people play it and send us feedback. So here we're gonna go. Carl is gonna show off his skills.
His gazelle rustling skills.
Yeah, his gazelle skills. And here we're gonna start with a camp. So these camps, these are military locations. He's going to use Senu, right?
That's right.
Senu. Senu
She's a beauty.
Yeah, she's a beauty. She's a great scout. So right now, Carl's using her to tag the enemies, but also tagging opportunities in the camp. Now, the question might be, why would someone infiltrate such a location outside of quests? So there is a quest that actually takes place here. In the demo, we've disabled the quest so that we can focus on the world and what happens with the world. Later on, there's going to be more streams with quests so that we can kind of spread the love, the content.
But for now, we're just kind of cutting loose in the open world and going to see what is in store for us here at this camp. Now, with the tagging, I'm noticing, one of the new features here is that levels are popping up over the enemy's heads as you are tagging. So what can the player read into those levels as to what kind of challenge they're going to face?
Yeah, so by going a lot more action RPG, what's happening here is that right now Bayek is level 20 and he's facing off against enemies that are at an equivalent challenge. And so this would be considered a fair challenge fight in this part of the world. And we'll see that as, we'll see later on, there's another camp with enemies that are level 25. And you'll see that the feedback is slightly different. This is to really clarify to people, levels matter, gear matters. Taking on higher level enemies, it's doable. But they're tougher not only in stats, but they're also tougher in behavior. So the higher level they are, they have more capacities, more abilities, stronger weapons.
So you might want to think twice before taking them on, or get some better gear, or just light your arrows on fire.
Yes.
Ooh.
Apparently.
What are you doing there, Carl?
I think I'm going to cause a little bonfire down here.
Why not? Because it's not hot enough.
Yes.
Just a little more warmth from the bonfire. Speaking of which, my feet are on fire. We are in the middle of the sun
it is,
right
it is really hot out
We
here.
suffer for your entertainment, viewers.
Listen, this is the live streaming equivalent of method acting. Is Bayek is warm right now. You think that hood is like keeping him cool?
That hood is warm, and I will say for the fans out there who.
Oh, the lion's attacking the horse.
Attacking the horse. He's got a snack on some horse
Well, it is a
meat.
distraction.
He's been caged up for a while.
So that's something that we fully embrace in here. So all the NPCs of the world, all the humans, all the animals, they have a full life in the world. They have needs, they have wants. Animals, they hunt, they sleep, they find shade. So in this case, this lion has been captured and been put in a cage. And at this point, it becomes an opportunity for the player. You can't always guarantee it, but okay. So these guys they sense something. They've seen a lion getting released. They've seen
kind of hard to miss that one.
Yeah, a fire. There you go, Carl.
Something's going
well
down.
done. Well done.
All right.
Nice job, Carl.
So here we go. So we just picked up a bow. So this is something that's really important in Assassin's Creed Origins. It's gear.
Goodbye, lion.
Terrible. He was so kind to you.
Wow.
He attacked the horse. He should have been attacking.
No real lions were harmed.
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
So we picked up a bow, and we saw that it was a blue bow, which means that it's a common weapon. So rarities do matter in this game.
Yeah.
The more rare the equipment is, the more attributes it has, the more properties it has.
So as opposed to just does some more damage, it cannot have other properties. Like what is an example?
Exactly. So other properties could be things like poison tipped. Being able to generate adrenaline. Adrenaline is a concept. It's a resource in the combat system that allows Bayek to unleash a fury of attacks or just devastating, overpowering attacks. And you can build adrenaline through the combat system. And some weapons charge differently than others, so this is part of the depth of the combat that we want players to mess around with.
And this is a whole new combat system you guys have.
Boom, headshot.
It's way different than the feeling before of being an assassin.
He's dazed. Take him out. Poor guy. Poor guy. Oh,
he can cover some ground.
So this guy's a commander. That's the gold icon.
Uh-oh. Not for long.
There we go.
There we go.
Dead.
So there we go.
So killed.
So here we found a second bow. So in a military location, military locations are great for finding equipment and new gear. Aside from playing quests, these are also places to be able to upgrade Bayek with new weapons.
Loot all that.
So here we found a bow. Oh, we leveled up, which gives us an ability point. So we'll check that out in a second.
Check it out now.
Yeah, and we found a shield.
Oh, cool.
Nice
All right,
job,
so here we're
Carl.
looking at sort of the skill tree, and I'm seeing 3 different branches.
Yeah, it's more of a graph. What that means is there are flavors. So on the one side, what you see here is the Master Seer. This is more the abilities that are aligned with manipulation. So manipulating the environment, animals, and NPCs. In the center, we have the warrior aspect, which is really delving deep into fight. And the hunter aspect, which is more the stealthy approach of being an assassin or being a ranger. And the idea is players can dedicate themselves or go through the graph however they want. That's why it's a graph, because they can actually kind of spread themselves as they wish. They can really craft their own assassin. And you can even focus on one area. If you want to be the absolute ultimate warrior,
Ultimate warrior.
you can dedicate yourself. So the last ability on each graph, you can keep pumping points into it. So you can really become that super powerful archetype that you wish to play.
You just got to chase down a fluorescent outfit and you're good to go.
So what kind of player would you be, Ash? What's your personal favorite style?
Personally, well, we should get Carl to buy something here.
We go for the enhanced warrior bow.
Enhanced warrior bow. The warrior bow is super cool. We haven't seen it yet, so maybe we should switch to it if we can.
Yep. We did pick up a few new bows, right?
Yeah, we should check out the new gear.
Check out our gear.
Definitely check out the new gear. So in terms of my style, I would say I'm somewhere between hunter and warrior. I can't choose one or the other. I sometimes prefer stealth, sometimes prefer just duking it out with the guys. That's my style, but that's one thing we wanted to cater to, is that we have a lot of fans who either play stealth or play pure combat.
It depends on
their mood. We wanted to give them a control over that.
Yeah.
So here we can see that Carl put on a new bow. You also had a new shield. Put on the shield, put on the shield.
New everything. New bow, new shield.
Is it really going to be better? Let's have a look.
It's way better. So you can see the shield adds to the player's resistance.
Okay.
It was quite significant. And we can see it has a property, which is that when you block a hit, you generate adrenaline. So the idea is with gear, you can actually start crafting, again, the way you fight, the way you stealth. We can see the crafting at the bottom there. So just like combat, there's no longer this concept that you can one-shot assassinate just anybody. Enemies that are higher level, you'll do stealth damage. But if you want to one-shot them, be that true lethal assassin, you have to craft better hidden blades.
You gotta work hard at it. And now we're going for a little boat ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to cool down in the sea, which I wish I could do right now, because I am on fire.
Pretty hot. So this is the amazing tech Singapore has been working on. The water. I think it's some of the most beautiful water in any game. It's absolutely beautiful. It's completely seamless. We can, at some point, we'll dive underneath. For now, you know, we have an island here. Let's maybe at some point explore the island.
Well, this lake is really big. Yeah, can we just get a sort of look at how big this is?
So
this
pretty.
is one
Take
of the
a look at this lake.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can see the draw distance are absolutely stunning.
Yeah, this is, for you folks watching, this is running on the Xbox One X.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. It's really allowing us to showcase what we can push with our engine, the beauty of the world. We really want to do Egypt justice and show it off, show off our artists, show off our technical people, our programmers who bring this to life.
It's gorgeous.
So here we can see some boats in the distance. This bigger ship here. There's always opportunities. The world is alive. You know, fishermen are out catching fish. They'll take their goods to shore, to docks, take them to the markets, go home and sleep at night. And there's always opportunities for the player here.
All right, out for a little swim. And you mentioned underwater. Let's take a little dive.
Okay,
let's take a little dive.
Take a look. You know, I see something dangerous off in the horizon there.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, what is that?
It's a hippo.
Oh, man, do we have other
He looks pretty
creatures?
friendly. Let's get closer. See what happens.
It's a good idea. Very good idea. Or not.
Carl has a great track record with animals, so nothing could go wrong. But
you've heard about his stories from Singapore, I see. So this is a location. The reason there's loot here, the question might be, why is there loot here? The reason there's loot here is actually this island. It's where the Ptolemies, so the guard force, they use this island as a way to stop, to take a break, to actually refill on some of their stocks. And so here we can see there's actually a guard on the other side who's been killed by what? I don't know, but Maybe the hippo.
Not a
we might
hippo.
know.
No, he's a good guy. I think we should
Hippo's
say
a
hi.
nice dude.
He's a nice dude.
Oh, I got a spear.
You got a spear? Use the spear. Switch to the spear.
Okay, let's switch.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We've seen sort of that that short curved sword in action.
The khopesh, yeah.
But there is a variety of weapons, and the sort of the reach of the longer weapons is going to affect how you are in combat.
Exactly. So we have a ton of types of weapons. So 8 melee weapons, 4 types of bows, and this is just the types. Then within them, there's levels, attributes, properties, and all that stuff. And of course, it's a completely seamless system here. We're using the bow in water.
You should get in closer, Carl, and see what happens.
Those birds, if Carl is good, he can shoot those birds down.
I got other problems right now. Let me deal with this angry beast.
They're just trying to say hi.
Okay.
You know?
I feel like you're engaging it on its home turf. Like maybe they're slower on land. You don't want to. Oh God!
And he's using the spear.
Oh no! You're smacking the hippo with your spear.
Oh, the poor hippo. What if it's a mama?
Now, you know what?
Man.
Now you've gotten
Carl.
him angry. He just wanted to say hi.
I think if it's a mama, Carl's in even more trouble.
Yeah.
Keep circling
You're vicious, yeah.
No hippos were harmed in the making of this demo.
No, no actual hippos
No
were harmed
actual
in the
hippos.
making of Assassin's Creed.
This one's
Origins.
being harmed, though. There we go.
All right. So when you loot a hippo, what are you gaining from this beast?
So,
what was the purpose of this massacre?
Do you ever think you would say that sentence in public? So animals. So the fauna of Egypt.
Whoa.
Is,
Okay.
Just throw that guy off his boat?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Sorry.
So this is.
Sorry, buddy. There's a hippo just over there. Careful, huh?
You can use the corpse as a float. You'll be fine.
Carl style. This is Carl style. Obviously, Egypt, it's very well known for its fauna, its wildlife, and we need it to represent that properly here. And then we have to say, well, it matters to the player on some level. So this is part of the progression system. So you gain materials that you would use to craft some of your gear. So that's.
Oh!
Boom.
You're just a shit starter, aren't you, Carl?
It's military. It's all right.
These are military dudes. Put
He's on fire now.
Okay.
Ooh, fire on a boat. That's a recipe for disaster. I like it.
Oh, the fisherman's coming in dangerously.
Oh boy.
Is someone else mixing it up over
there? There we go.
Oh, now the boat's on fire.
He's coming for me though. He knew that his boat was in trouble. I better leave.
Just leave him to tread water.
Yeah.
So you know what? If the situation was slightly different,
I love how this guy's just along for the ride. He's just in front of you like, what is happening?
Yeah, the guy's just chilling. The thing is, Bayek is a Magi. They are protectors of Egypt. They're protectors of the Egyptian way of life, and Egyptians have a high respect for Magi's, and they go to them for help. This is actually feeds into the questing system, actually. So, as a Magi, he respects them. He's going to let him take his boat for a ride.
You do you, Bayek. You do you. Set boats on fire.
I like it too because he's not like, obviously the boat's important to that dude. Like it's probably his livelihood. He's like, look, man, you can take this wherever you want, but I need it when you're done.
Yeah, just be sure you bring it back in one piece.
For a bit. He'll even wait a bit. Eventually he'll leave, but he'll wait a bit for now.
He's watching me carefully.
So courteous.
Like,
so
hey,
courteous.
in case you need a getaway vehicle, I'm here, bro.
Exactly, exactly. So here, this is another military camp, but this one's slightly different. This one's a wharf. Here, what we wanted to show is just what it's like to take on enemies that are much higher level. So here we'll see some guards. So there's some in the front gate there. So level 25, you see that the badge is red, which is kind of telling the player, yes, you can try. You can try.
Try your best.
Take a run at him.
Give it a shot, but it's going to be a very difficult fight because you're not at their level just yet. Eventually, by going through quests, by completing locations in the world, you will level up enough. So I would recommend just trying. Carl,
what's your plan here?
Are you going to take on this challenge?
This guy's. Oh, he looks vulnerable. So let's try a headshot.
He's alone.
Let's try a headshot. See how much damage it does. Oh goodness, it's not going to do a lot.
He's trying to swat a fly.
Yeah, he is.
Oh,
he is tough.
Yeah,
just a little scratch.
Yeah.
Get up on him. All right, got the spear. Working it in close quarters. Come on, get him, Carl.
Oh boy, here we go.
I believe in you, Carl.
You can take him. He can take him. Honestly, he can do it. Carl's been practicing. He's very good at the game.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, look at that one hit.
Like a stun almost happening. Is that a heavy hit that I'm?
Oh, no. Oh, Lord.
You get an F for effort. It's okay.
Yeah, 2 hits from me. Okay.
So look, the game is live. This is, you know,
this is real gameplay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we take, you know, we take games very seriously in the sense of you know, we want this to be the representation of the game as it is. We want players to see where it is today. So yes, in a demo playthrough, Carl died in front of everybody.
Killed. But I've learned my lesson.
You don't have to rub it in, Ash. In front of everybody.
I've learned my lesson, and I'll just keep moving on. The level 25 is too high.
Let's give them a wide berth now, and so you're coming in. You're sort of leaving the wharf and coming. Oh,
hey, buddy.
Yeah. So
There's
Carl
our
just
friend.
called for his mount.
And does this horse have a name? Or
Yes,
is it a horse with no name?
I believe this horse is named Amun-Re.
Amun-Re.
So.
He's very handsome.
It's a beautiful horse.
Yeah.
So Senu is our eagle companion. In this case, though, we wanted that mounts was something that the player can actually collect more and more mounts, purchase more and more mounts, and we have many different types of mounts. So there's horses, many types of beautiful horses, but also camels and eventually chariots.
Camels.
Yeah, and they all have their value, and so you can actually have different types of horses. Senu being the eagle companion that stays with you through the journey. So there we go. So we have this beautiful black horse here.
Does the camel
Black
have
stallion.
a spit attack? Because I hear they do that.
A spit attack, no, but you can rear with the horse. You can rear with the horse. The camel.
Get the hooves in there. So we're sort of skirting the shoreline here, and you know, this is, you guys have built, as you were saying in the presentation, this is a country. You know, this is not just one city. So what kind of region are we in?
Yeah, actually, before we go in, so here we found Umeria, which is a port village. Actually, maybe I'll ask Carl to go to the map.
Sure.
You can go to the map just to kind of give a general spacing of the world. So this is the lake that we've seen with Senu. If we keep zooming out, this is the aspect of the demo. The lake is where the demo takes place. Since we were riding a bit north of it earlier,
we started around here.
Yeah, that's how we unfog the world. By visiting the world, you unfog it. But just to give a breadth of this country that we've built.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, move around just to show it's.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
it keeps
ginormous.
going. It's absolutely massive.
Up to Alexandria in the north.
Yeah, Alexandria.
Nice.
There's
The
the
Nile
Giza
Delta.
Desert, the Nile Delta, the Giza Plateau, Memphis, the ancient city of Memphis, and it goes on. Then there's Fayum, Crocodilopolis down in the south.
Crocodilopolis.
Yes, yes. Real city.
I like that place, Thieves Land. What's going on? Does anybody ever go there?
Really honest
It's
people.
just
are
like,
there.
I think
No, you don't wanna go down.
daring players should go there. There's a lot of cool stuff in it for them. So just to give an idea that this is a country. Egypt is, it's such a majestic setting, and we've dreamed of going to this place. And so when we started, and we decided we're going to Egypt, we understood that it was going to be, a labor of love. It was going to push us to develop new technologies, to build such a crazy big world. And then to even populate the world with all these people that actually have agendas and purpose. For example, these people over here are being attracted by an event, if Carl would look at it.
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Egypt is hard. Egypt, it was a tough life.
Place.
Let's investigate.
Priest, what has the boy done to deserve this? This has nothing to do with you. Back away. The boy will get what he deserves.
I serve Sobek. I serve Sobek. I am a slave.
Boy, what are you accused of?
I was charged with ferrying 2 gold Sobeks to Crocodilopolis. Just out of port, my ship sank by the lighthouse. I almost drowned. The statues were lost. I didn't steal them.
Silence! And you, step back, CHAIRTY.
Wait, do not threaten me, Neb. I am a Magi. If the boy speaks the truth, I will find your gold Sobeks. If he lies, he is yours to deal with.
So here we got a little bit of a taste of Bayek's personality and his attitude towards these masked priests that abuse their power. And this is a side quest. So our players can expect this type of quality, cinematics, great characters, in the optional content in the side quest. And we have hundreds of stories to tell. Egypt was a really wonderful place. Then we found so much amazing stories that we wanted a way to be able to tell them, and the quest structure allowed us to do that. But again, we're saving the quest stuff for other streams, for YouTubers out there. So So for now, we'll continue with
Our
playing through
open
the
world
world.
shenanigans.
Yeah, if you folks are just joining us, we're playing Assassin's Creed Origins on the Xbox One X with Ash and Carl from the Assassin's Creed Origins dev team. I'm Chris, this is Hanny, and we'll be doing this for about 10 more minutes, so stick around. We've got plenty of open world stuff to show you and some explorations here as Senu scouts out some more locations.
She's a good girl.
So here, actually, I'm going to ask Carl to not stealth this one. The reason we're showing these different locations, different camps and warps is actually we wanted to show a bit of stealth, we want to show a bit of fight, so I'm going to ask Carl.
All right, well, what do we got in our arsenal here?
He needs to earn some redemption.
Oh, yeah, okay.
He needs to
This
earn
time,
redemption.
win this one, Carl.
Okay, let's give it a try.
For the
Okay,
last.
here I come, out the bushes.
Are you going in with the spear?
I'll just shoot him in the chest first, wake him up.
Good wake-up call.
There we go.
Nice.
Okay, all right, all
Nice
right.
dodge.
Come on, Carl. Redeem yourself.
Boom. Nice job so far.
At some point,
yes.
just to show the
One more hit and he's dead.
the versatility of the fight, you can take out your bow. There we go, dynamically in the fight. And
Oh my God,
headshot.
that guy's
Bravo,
huge.
bravo.
All right, now is he close to filling up his adrenaline meter here?
Yes.
He seems like that might be helpful.
It's getting there.
against this dude.
It's getting there.
I'll try and use it on the big dude.
He is humongous.
There we go. Okay, just get in there. Unleash. There we go.
Okay.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Okay, here we go.
We're gonna see Carl.
Oh. Oh,
yeah.
yes!
Nice.
Impaled.
Very good. Very good.
That was
Oh, you done
beautiful.
good, Carl.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Through the
boy.
throat that time. Nice.
Nice job, Carl. You killed it.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, now give us a little broader context. Who are these dudes that Bayek is dispatching with such panache?
So this is we're in the era of the Ptolemies. So these are Ptolemaic guards. They work for the people that Bayek is going after. And when I say going after, effectively Bayek is unraveling a mystery, and he doesn't know who these characters are that he's after. And so he comes to this place. He's actually looking for a contact to gain some info to lead him to eventually his targets. And these are the Ptolemy guards who work for these people. Bayek, being an Egyptian, a Medjay, he doesn't have a very good alignment with these people. They represent, they represent
really like 'em.
the evil forces that are destroying his homeland. So
It's
anyway,
just
so these are the people he's after. This area of the world, just to say, if we take a look around, yeah, Carl, this is a beautiful shot of the world.
Carl, give us a slow pan here.
So this is
Well,
the.
actually, there's a reach eye point, so we can get a better view from there.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a viewpoint.
A viewpoint.
We'll do
Now
the
we're-
viewpoint.
Just for a sec, we're seeing, you know, some serious climbing here, a hallmark of the Assassin's Creed franchise, but that rock didn't have any like obvious handholds on it. Like, what's the approach to climbing in Origins?
So the climbing, actually, before we synchronize, just to look around.
So pretty.
So the climbing in Origins, it's so first we've revamped the controls, the fluidity of the character. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback already from the people who've played the build that feel like the assassin is really responsive, listening to them, doing what they want. And we pushed that to the climbing, where we said, you know what, we should be able to climb any surface we want. So we've created a tech for Bayek when he's climbing to be able to put his hands and footholds into crevices and so on any surface. So effectively to be able to climb anywhere. We wanted, you know, as the most seamless experience that we can have. Here you can see the world is absolutely beautiful. See that that distance, that top peak in the distance? You know, we could just go there at some point if we wish to. Swimming, by boat, by camel, whatever. And there's secrets up there for us. There's really
I
cool
love
stuff.
secrets.
There's really cool discoveries to find. Here, why don't we synchronize? So here, the world is, you know, kudos to our artists, our engineers, our technical artists. You know, this world is something.
Absolutely, and you know, so synchronizing, you know, historically is sort of a way to learn more about an area, sort of clear the fog from an area. But you mentioned earlier, the fog clears by you just traveling through the area.
Yeah, exactly. So we wanted to keep the idea of we wanted to keep the viewpoints as an homage to the series.
Leap of faith, there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Maybe we can explore a bit, walk through the area a little bit, just to give a flavor of the village life. Villages are great places to pick up quests, to go to shops, and obviously there are many quests inside villages. These are hubs of content. But anyway, so Oh, we're in a red zone right now.
Oh.
So
will
much
now
for
show
village
us
life.
the fleeing technology.
Yeah, I'd recommend fleeing maybe. Or you can fight. Or you can fight.
He's feeling strong from his last encounter.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's digging that speed.
Real confidence.
Mixing melee and
Now we're
ranged.
we're busting out the warrior's bow here. That was a skill we unlocked earlier.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Good point. Good point.
Switch to the warrior bow. So the warrior bow, it's effectively our shotgun bow. He shoots 5 arrows at once.
There we go.
Oh
Boom.
my god, deadly.
Bravo.
Beautiful. Very efficient.
It shoots 5 arrows at once. So when we talk about attributes and properties, you can actually find bows that you can actually have more arrows on them. You can set them on fire by default. So this compound here, it's actually part of a quest. Don't want to ruin the quest for people, but this is somebody's home that's been, let's say, confiscated, and Bayek will eventually have to help those people.
Oh, it's a porcupine.
That's that's a lot of arrows, but you can recover. It looks like you're recovering now.
Yeah, you can pick up your arrows.
And that ranged
you
combat,
hit
that
with.
focus on sort of, you know, assassins have had ranged weapons in the past before, but with the bows in Origins, you guys are really trying to expand that.
Yeah, it's a full-blown third-person shooter on that element. It's we really wanted that the playstyles we push, so range combat, melee, stealth, that this stuff feels authentic, and if you just want to focus on that the game will fully support it and will go deep into that. So we've really pushed ourselves to develop these gameplays. The shooting feels great. The bows feel amazing. And there's a bunch of bows we haven't shown. There's the Predator bow, which is kind of like a sniper.
Can we talk about the cat?
There's a little
Oh my god, there's a cat!
There's a cat!
This is such a great way to wrap this up. Like, we just saw a cat in ancient Egypt. Come on,
in ancient
guys.
Egypt, and you know what? Cats are very important in ancient Egypt.
Can you pet it?
So here, look. So see, okay, look. So systemically, you know, as I said, animals really live in this world, and so this cat has, for some reason, an affection towards Bayek.
He loves you, or she.
Or she's sticking around.
Reciprocate.
Look at she loves them. She loves them.
Carl made
As I said, we've put a lot of effort on animals and their needs and what they do in the world. Yeah.
I love that she appeared near the end of this stream. This is amazing.
Fantastic omen.
Yes.
Ash, this has been so great, Carl. Thank you for showing off the game. There's a lot more to come.
So just for the context of the situation, you originally get introduced to the Gladiator Arena through the main quest line. So Bayek, he's trying to lure out a specific target. And so he covers himself going into the Gladiator Arena to pretend to be a gladiator to be able to lure this person out. That's how you get into it. Once you've gotten into it, it becomes optional. And we have a ton of bosses and a ton of rounds. There's a lot of cool gear to get to win through the Gladiator Arena, but again, it's the player's choice. If you want to keep going down this rabbit hole, you can. And if not, that's okay too. You're gonna miss out on amazing bosses, that's your choice. Here, we're seeing a new weapon, which is what we call a heavy bladed, so like a giant axe. You can see some of the combos here. Fighting an enemy with a shield is very different than an enemy with a sword or a spear. Here we finished the first wave, a new wave is coming, so we can see the shields are bigger. There are different types of shields. There's guys with hammers. Here you can see at the bottom of the screen, we've built up this adrenaline meter. So this is kind of a meta strategy in the fight system where you can build up this meter to unleash massive attacks, or what we call Fury mode. Each weapon has its own style of devastating attacks or Fury mode. And eventually what we want players to do is to, here we go, this is it. Yes, yes.
Round of applause for the team.
There we go. See, very poorly timed swings. The person who played this, I don't know, we're gonna talk to him after this. He's standing just off stage. So here we can see two massive dudes. Yeah. This part is hard. Even for me, it's very hard. But you can see, so, a little detail. You saw him get knocked to the ground. Things like status effects, like knocked to the ground, stun, breaking open their shields. All of this are properties of weapons, properties of combos and attacks that we want people to learn that depth and master it. And every weapon has its own style. So here we're able to knock him down, which allows us to start unloading. But he still has his shield up. So here we want to play with things like having the guy be committed to a move before going to his back and doing a critical hit. So there we go, so the waves are done. Now it's onto the boss of this area. So we'll let the introduction play. But again, just to repeat, we are introduced to this through the main quest line, and then after this point it becomes an optional piece of content as now Bayek has the right to enter an arena. It's up to the player to continue or not. So we go with the slaver. So as you'll see, every boss has their own unique set of combos, unique weapons. Keep in mind, this is, I'll say it, I'm super proud with what we have, and I'm really happy that we're able to show it off. It is still a work in progress. We still have, we're still working on this thing. We're tuning and balancing, working out the wrinkles. But we're super proud to be able to show it off and have people play it here at E3.
This is playable over at E3?
This is playable here at
E3,
yes.
Okay.
You have to watch out for those spikes, so the environment matters. You can use the environment against the enemy if you're clever, if you know how to use your weapon, if you know how to use push attacks, this kind of stuff. We really wanted to craft, it's a dance between these two. So now he's getting pissed. So as he goes through the fight, he gains new attacks. His strategy will adapt to yours. He's gonna get tougher and tougher. As you can see, he's actually getting faster with his attacks, getting more aggressive. And I'll say this is one of the simplest bosses we have in the game. We have some super cool, unique bosses. We put a lot of effort into this.
Almost halfway there.
So that's something important that you can do. You can kind of prepare an attack, feint an attack, be able to dodge last second. Hitting an enemy in the back will actually do bonus damage. Hitting an enemy on the ground or getting them on the ground will also do bonus damage. There's quite a lot of depth. It's a very different fight system than we've ever done. And that's why we have this here at E3. It's because, we can say it till we're blue in the face. We can show awesome videos, but it's not the same if you don't feel it. And that's why we have this here. We want players to feel it and to realize, okay, yeah, it is drastically different. It is something new and hopefully something quite cool.
It's pretty intense here. Is he gonna make it?
I don't know. we'll have to talk to him afterwards to see how he feels about this.
Wow! He took like 2.5 bars of damage in like 2 shots. Wow!
What a finish!
All right, very impressive. No mercy. That's how this crowd.
Boo! Man, this crowd is vicious. Wow.
We want blood. All right, you did it.
So here,
Siwa, my home, the sacred oasis.
I thought he was dead. Our Medjay, the last protector, our treasure and faith. Siwa has not been the same since he left. I hope you are here to rid us of Medina Moon.
Be my eyes, Senu. This temple resembles a fortress. What has happened?
Get out of my way.
There you are, Medunamon. The next masked one on my list. Now it is my turn to tip the balance of Anubis. Better be careful here.
I should go drop these priests in the desert. Let us stand to take them.
Ah, a fine bow.
If the people see these dead priests, they will surely revolt.
It is too dangerous. I will pass for now. Guide me, Senu. Medunamon. You will die, Medunamon.
Die, you bastard! Going to kill you for that! See what is mine!
Finally.
Assassin's Creed Origins.